Stop that.
All right, so then I'm gonna call this meeting in order at 4:32 p.m. on Thursday, the 21st of October. Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing great. Another Thursday, another GA. Let's rock and roll and get down to it. VP Shockey, if you could do roll call, please.
Yes, so President Green.
Here.
VP Labella.
Here.
VP Yildiz. Advisor Rome.
I am here.
Senator Baca. Okay. Senator Ciardelli.
Hello, good day, everyone.
Okay. Senator Jones.
Here.
Senator Klonczynski.
Here.
Senator Willis. Right, maybe she'll be joining us yet. Senator Zebel, I believe, is
Here.
here. All right. And then Senator Lindert. Okay.
Sarah Leonard, she's here.
Okay.
She's
And then
here.
Senator Jane.
Present.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Cool. We don't have minutes, so I'm gonna move on right away and go down to corrections and approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. You all know the deal. VP Labella.
We move to approve the agenda.
That's awesome. All right. Do we have a second? And Sarah Jones, is that second?
Yes.
All right. So all those in favor, if you would please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up, please. All right, and you can put them down, and that looks like that's the majority. And so I'm going to say that the agenda has been approved, and we're now going to move right on down to public comments. Tina Hito, the Goodman South Dean, welcome. We love having you here. I'm going to let you take it away.
Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you, and thanks for adapting in this new environment that we're operating under. So you guys look awesome from here. Just a couple of things on my end. First of all, I can't remember when it was that I was here last, but I just want to say thanks and put it on the record that you guys came on our radio show, Ponte las Pilas. I don't know if that was last academic year, you guys. It's been a while. I'm so sorry on the timing. But I just want to say thank you. You did an awesome job, and we got lots of follow-up questions. People didn't even know that we had governance, student governance, or how active it was, or how important the decisions that you guys make for our student body. So I just wanted to say thank you, and maybe we can talk about doing it again, President Green. Okay, so just putting that out there. Yeah, so thanks for that. Secondly, I want to let you know that the Madison College Free Legal Clinic is back seeing students in person. We have been going remote because of the pandemic, but we started to open up our offices again over at the Goodman South campus, in addition to offering the virtual remote services. So I just want to put that out there, you know, as some of those support services are coming offline for housing, for additional utility support, you know, things like that, that if students are finding that this is an area that they need support with, that the service is out there for them. It's the free Madison Legal Clinic. You can access it online. And in line with that, on November 20th and 21st, which is a Saturday and a Sunday, the Madison College Legal Clinic, along with a bunch of other community partners, and I could list them, except I know I'd leave someone out. So I'll just say a bunch of other community partners. We're going to be hosting the Mexican, the mobile Mexican consulate, their consulate services. So what that means is they travel, they're based out of Milwaukee, and it's consular services for the country of Mexico. And they travel around the state providing services for nationals. And so they've come to Madison many times, and we are going to be hosting them on the 20th and 21st. And they just provide really important services for students who might need documentation, a birth certificate, some kind of ID, you know, just so that they can go on with their life here while they're with us. And we're going to be hosting an immigration resource fair also on the 20th and 21st. And while the consulate is going to be there, and that's for Mexican nationals, the immigration resource fair is open to whoever might have an immigration related question. So we'll have Dane County Office of Immigration Affairs there. We'll have several other community organizations that deal with immigration law. And then some of our major community-based organization partners will be there, like Catholic Multicultural Center, Centro Hispano. They'll also be available to provide information. So again, that's not just for Mexican nationals, which will be served only by the consulate, but to anybody who might have any kind of questions regarding immigration services, and what's available to them in Madison and the surrounding area. Okay, so that's on Saturday and Sunday, November 20th and 21st, 10 to 2. Okay, so just so that you're aware that that's going on. And then just a couple more things. One is we had a visit, I think you might know from being out at South, and if you guys haven't met at South and you're interested at the Goodman campus, we can maybe plan on that maybe for spring, Sean, if you're interested and you have your our ambassador, right? I think you were looking to get that filled. You have it filled.
We do. We have Sarah Jane is the Goodman South senator, so we should have a meeting set up between the three of us. We can introduce you to her.
Awesome. Okay. Well, at some point, if you want to host, and we'll be happy to host you and come on over to the campus. One of the things about the Goodman South campus is we have a set of students from the Madison Metropolitan School District, the Early College STEM Academy. It's what it's called. It's a pre-college program. And the students they're juniors and seniors, and they're enrolled both in high school, but they're taking our classes and completing our credit-based courses, typically as part of the liberal arts transfer program. And I just want to let you know that we had a visit from the MMSD leadership, which was the people who work in secondary education, the high schools, the program leads, and they were just so inspired by having the students feel so accepted into the college community, right? Some of you maybe have a student or two in your classes. If you guys are virtual, they're not closed. They're out taking regular college classes. And so I just want to thank you, because I think, Sean, you know, how you create that welcoming environment for all of our students in the classrooms and outside of the classroom, and their involvement with this organization, and that just goes a long way. And especially when they're younger, right, and they're coming in, they're just not quite as sure, perhaps. So I just wanted to pass on my kudos. The MMSD leadership was just really impressed, and they were grateful, and they were grateful for the opportunities for their students. So thank you to you guys on that. And then almost lastly, there were only 4 things. Katrina, I'm going to look at you, Senator. I don't even know what your title is. I'm so sorry. Willis. Was the shared governance survey, did you guys see that come out to you? Does that sound familiar? Yes.
I can. Yeah. Someone's unmuted.
Okay, that was me. I messed up. So yes, we've been talking about it at Student Senate, and then I also sent it out through a Student Senate email to all students on Monday.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ellie, because I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that that opportunity is out there. We really do look at that information. It really helps to guide that work. You guys are an integral part of that, and shaping, you know, your voice is what helps to shape those issues that we take up. So I just really encourage you to please take some time. I think it's like 10, 15 minutes. I think that probably is too much, but about 10 minutes to complete that survey. And I think it's open until
Sunday night.
Sunday night?
Monday is when it's, according to Cindy, not Cindy, according to Ann, it closes Monday because it's supposed to be open for exactly 1 week.
1 week. Okay. Well, don't wait till then, you guys. Go home and do it tonight, okay? Just fill out your survey. If you haven't done it yet, get that done, all right? So thank you for that. And then I don't know if you are, I know you guys are aware, but I don't know to what extent information is coming or going, but I think you all know that we have joined Achieving the Dream Network. It's a national network, right? And I think you guys are participating through, I wanted to say it was the Academic Affairs Shared Governance Council, but I'm not quite sure. No? Sean, you're looking like.
So Dr. Casper mentioned there would be times when Student Senate would be looped back in. He kind of presented an overview a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, great.
Said that the main team would be back at different points, I think.
Yeah, so they just visited. They just visited with us. Their coaches came in on, I think it was Tuesday. That you guys, this week has been really long. It might have been yesterday, so don't put that in the minutes. Sometime this week they visited. And they were just really pleased, you know, with the level of support and commitment, both that the college has, of course, for our students, but then again, too, for the students have for the college. And I think it just really goes to speak toward the kind of relationships that we try to build even through this mechanism, right? So I just wanted to say thanks, and this is our year of planning. This is a time of investigation, so that's how come Dr. Casper will be coming back to you. But I just want to let you know that they had come out this week and paid their data coaches had paid a visit, and they've just been blown away with the kind of things that we would have in place. So it's going to be really exciting to see how we move as a college forward on that. So those were my updates. I'm looking at my notes, and I think that's all that I had. Do you guys have any questions for me? Can I ask that, President Green?
See, I've been seeing this hand up from VP Labella. Is that the question or just a technical glitch?
My hand isn't up on my end, sorry.
Oh, no, the technical glitch, my mistake. I had a question originally about the time that you had answered with the 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the November 20th and 21st. So you answered my question. Let me just put that clearly. And I do want to say we appreciate all the praise, and yeah, we do our best to be welcoming of everybody and accepting of everybody, and we continue to do that. And you know, we love these opportunities to have you, you know, inform us of what's going on, especially with the Achieving the Dream. That very important to keep feeling like we're kept in the loop about that. So,
Yep.
I don't have any questions though. I mean, you know,
Hey.
this questions.
You guys, I'll be in the chat too. So if you guys have questions, you want to drop me anything there, I'll be available. Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Oh, you are, Ella. You're in the STEM Academy. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. See, I'm gonna heart that one if you guys don't mind.
We will set up a meeting. She's a great senator. So far, she's been asking lots of questions, very motivated and hardworking, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So
I think that's awesome. Thank you, President Green. Thank you, Ella. You know, I gotta say, you guys, we ended up having a student graduate. Her name was Amaya, and she was so active in STEM. She helped form a green club, a student club. So she was just really active in leadership that way. We ended up hiring her as a casual over the summer, and she worked for us for that whole summer, and she just did a phenomenal job helping us. We were doing some marketing work, and she just is fantastic. She started over at the UW this fall. You know, she was able to transfer over, and she's doing biomedical engineering or something crazy like that. That makes my head hurt. But it works. And so just thank you. Thank you for your support and thank you for your support of the students.
So yeah, all right, so I'm gonna move on, but yes, please, got questions, drop them in the chat, just like she said, she, will be seeing those, we, again, thank you for, stopping by, it is always a pleasure, and, you know, we, I got the information down, I'll share, do my best to share that information out, as well as all the other senators, and, all right, yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say for now, and, yeah, clap, woo, yeah.
You guys are funny. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. All right, so I'm gonna move on. Officer and committee reports, Executive Council report, President Green. Well, we officially appointed Senator Zhang to the Racial Equity Committee. So that was a very big step in helping to get senators on that. Then we continue to talk at length about planning for the town hall what kind of ideas, what we kind of envision. I don't know, I don't really know how much detail I should go into, but
I'll talk more about.
exactly, that's kind of what. So that's really all I have to say, and that concludes my report. So I'm going to move on to Admin and Finance Committee. VP Shockey, do you have a report for us?
Yeah, so we met very briefly last Tuesday to go over the legislation that Senator Tardelli will be introducing later. And then in addition to that, we also went over just our committee goals and timeline for the rest of the year, including discussion of the 3-year plan, specifically when we're going to start reviewing and drafting the new 3-year plan, which will be completed sometime early in the new year, presumably around February or March. So that's pretty much what we discussed, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, VP Shockey. Legislative and Rules Committee is currently vacant. Team Development Committee, VP Yildiz, I do not believe she is here today. She's not. So moving on, Public Relations Committee, VP Labella, do you have a report for us?
Not a report, just wanted to announce that I did send out an email to those that filled out you were interested in joining the committee. So just if you did, mark that, check your email, you'll see something from me in there.
Cool, Chuck. Keep an eye on that email. So moving on, special reports, advisor report, Advisor Rome.
All right, so right before this meeting started, I got confirmation. We had to change the date and time for the town hall. I got confirmation that we do indeed have a room. We ran into an issue with other events happening in this big space here at Truex. So I'll change it on the calendar, but Monday, November 8th from 11 a.m. to noon is when the town hall is going to happen now. We wanted to make sure officers were not in class, so we moved it to a Monday. Hopefully that works for most folks. If you can't make it, obviously go to class and go to work and things like that. But if you're able to rearrange your schedule, please participate, even if it is virtual. We kind of had this idea, if Senator Zhang and Senator Linder are available, that we could reserve space at Goodman South and at Watertown to have kind of a live broadcast of the forum at those campuses. And we can get some support from staff and student life to help kind of produce the event with you, because it's a lot to manage. But hopefully the two of you are free. We can chat outside of this meeting about how to make that happen and if we can make it happen. But I think it would be a great opportunity to engage students who are not at Truex. And then I am looking for some help with some of the logistics and background and planning for the town hall. So that could include things like helping to write a bill to cover the cost of catering for people who come in person, helping me to create the presentation, helping with technology and hosting the day of. We might need some more help with outreach and marketing beyond just the Public Relations Committee. So is there anybody who is looking for more stuff to do and wants to jump on board with helping out with that? I'm really excited. We had a great conversation about how to make this really interactive and to get feedback. Senator Jones, you're interested? Or question?
Yeah. No, I'd be interested. I just have some more questions and like just have to see if it works logistically, but I'm interested in it.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we're gonna do some cool stuff, create a presentation in Mentimeter that will kind of give some updates about what Student Senate has worked on, is working on, but also get a lot of feedback from students who are there live and tuning in from anywhere in the world. So I'm excited about the format. We really just need to make sure all the pieces come together, because hosting hybrid events is really complicated, as we've seen just from trying to host hybrid meetings. So anyone else on board?
Yeah, so I mean, whatever I can do to help, I think it's a great idea to try to have something from the regional campuses. So yeah, keep me in the loop and let me know what I can do.
Awesome. All right, if anybody needs to think about it, look at their schedules, think about life, see if they can make it happen in the next couple weeks, let me know. But otherwise, I'll reach out to the two of you and we'll start kind of planning this out with the exec team. They're doing a lot of the work as well. But we need as many hands doing stuff as possible. That concludes my report.
Awesome. Thank you, Advisor Rome. Moving on, Public Safety Committee, Senator Willis, you have a report for us.
Hello, Glenn, Brandy and I met. We are currently having a slight crisis of membership. I'll put it that way. We were the only 3 people that showed up for our public safety meeting, and we're trying to recruit more students. So Plan is looking into running a marketing article or something in the Clarion to try to recruit more students. And I don't even know what happened to the faculty, staff, and PSRP members that were on the committee. So it looks like we're rebuilding from ground zero. And I think President Green, you should have been included on that email from Flan. So
Yep.
we're building, and we're gonna be like the 3 Little Pigs, the one building the house out of straw. That's what we're doing. We're trying to move our way back up to concrete. So just hang in there with us. And I'll keep you posted if he decides to do something like a meet and greet for students or something on campus. So as soon as we get everything worked out, I'll let you know. That's the end of my report.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And moving on now, our regional and metro campus reports. Reedsburg is currently vacant. Watertown, Sarah Linder, do you have a report for us?
No report.
Portage is currently vacant. Port Atkinson is currently vacant. Goodman South, Senator Shane, do you have a report for us?
Yeah, so no report as of now, but I do want to take this time again to say it's very nice to meet you, Tina, especially as a STEM Academy student. Thanks for being here, and it's just, again, it's nice.
It's a pleasure. Hopefully I get to see you on campus.
Awesome, I love it, I love it. All right, so I'm going to move on down now. Old business items, we do not have any old business items. New business items, Senate Bill 004, Senator Chardelli. Senator Chardelli, you've got 10 minutes. Take it away, buddy.
Gosh, I'm on my phone right now. I'm pulling up my laptop to try to pull up this bill.
All good. Maybe Shaq.
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed like 1 more minute.
No problem, man.
Would you like me to?
Do you want to read it while he's?
Maybe you can read it while he's getting set up.
Yeah, so Senator Chardelli, along with the Finance Committee, drafted this bill, and you've heard us discuss this a few times now, that will be taking on the role of reviewing self-funding requests. So this bill addresses that and would officially delegate that responsibility to the Finance Committee. So I'll just read the bill in its entirety right now. Okay, so Senate Bill 004, resolved by the Student Senate of Madison Area Technical College that the following article is proposed. Amend the bylaws to include the review of club funding request as a responsibility of the Finance Committee. In the Senate of Madison Area Technical College, they presented Thursday, October 21st, 2021. Senator Chardelli introduces the following legislation, which was referred by the Administration and Finance Committee. And then the formal motion is to amend, apologize, that would be Article, let's see here, anyone know?
I got no clue.
Roman numerals?
17.
Okay, 17, there we go. Section 3 of the Senate bylaws to include the review of club funding requests as a responsibility of the Finance Committee as presented in Section 2 of this bill. Whereas student clubs at Madison College have the ability to submit club funding requests for the purpose of acquiring funds for travel, membership, and promotional materials. The executive leadership team currently reviews club funding requests, and Student Senate will improve the current process of reviewing club funding requests. So all red text indicates in addition to the Student Senate bylaws, Article 17, Section 2, Student Senate standing committees, so the Senate Committee on Finance. And I won't read the whole section, but the new text is the following. The committee is responsible for the review of club funding requests. And to conclude, be enacted by the Student Senate of Madison College assembled that Article 17, Section 3 of the Senate bylaws be amended to include the review of club funding requests as the responsibility of the Finance Committee.
Awesome. Senator Chardelli, do you have anything to add? Not to read it off again, but just anything to add as this is the bill that you are introducing to the Senate?
Nothing to add. Sorry for the delay in getting that open. I was planning on reading it, but I was too slow. So thank you, Senator Shockey, for doing that. Yeah, that basically covered it. I was just going to read it, but yeah.
All right. And just to clarify, is it this bill is not is or is not being planned on being voted on today? I guess.
No, we're just introducing it.
Yes, the first read. I think normally the process is like we do the first read and then the next week we can vote on it, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we are I'm getting this on for the recording and everything.
Yeah, we're downstairs.
Is and what the plan was. So it sounds like this is going to be a discussion, or if there is any discussion, feedback from the rest of the senators. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say, share, contribute, comment, etc.? VP LaBella?
Will we get to see it next GA or whenever you plan on having a vote for it?
Senator Chardelli?
Yeah. Oh, I can like screen share it if you guys want to see it. I didn't think
it also is the SharePoint site too, under General Assemblies.
Was it in the weekly meeting materials?
Yes, it's in the weekly meeting materials.
So where we find the agenda will be the bill.
So
or not. Senator Chardelli, can you just share your screen, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the button for sharing the screen is. Did I turn off my camera? Why isn't it? Normally it's just like right there.
I can share.
All right. Thank you, Advisor Jerome.
I believe the link there in the chat that I just sent you is probably.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think I had the ability to share my screen. It's not showing up, the option, but thank you, Senator. Thank you, Advisor Rome.
All right. So What's anyone got to say? If anything, this is the time to discuss it. We had 10 minutes on the clock for this item. Before we move on to the continuing the prioritization of the shared governance stuff. So yeah, this is the time to talk about it. What's everyone have to say? Senator Willis?
Okay. The only thing that I would actually want to know is for organizations like Skills USA and Business Professionals of America, where we have both state and national conferences, what is the timeline as far as submitting requests prior to events? Because we have conferences coming up in February, April, and May, and June. So I was just curious, because I'm not seeing on the screen on this bill, I'm only seeing the first paragraph, so I'm not really seeing like if it actually explicitly states the process that the organizations would have to follow in order to request funding.
Yeah, so it doesn't state what the procedure will be. We're still learning what the current procedure is, and then we'll kind of form our own based on that. But I believe the current timeline is 2 weeks prior to when you need the funding. With COVID, it's been a little more relaxed, and they've been accepting some just reimbursements for funding. But I think traditionally, and what we're probably going to move more towards is 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks prior to when you're going to need the funding. So,
Yeah, on the front end, like it shouldn't be changing how people submit requests. Like it's really just kind of behind the scenes. Now we're handling it instead of the E-team, or what's the executive leadership team, I believe it's called, is currently processing them. Basically, the financial committee is just going to be processing these. But for people who submit it, the process, I think, will basically look the same.
So I was just gonna add that there's a whole club guide that's dozens of pages long that includes all of the like procedural things that can change year to year. So those are the types of things that you don't want to put in the bylaws, but you want to be more of like a working document to guide the process for clubs. So if the Student Senate wants to know more about that, we could definitely invite Candace in and kind of talk through the club guide, if that would be helpful in a couple weeks. I know she's super busy with cash this week and next week.
Sarah Willis, your question?
Well, I guess when Candace come, I'll ask the question. I was just going to ask about appeal process. For example, if a club got funded less than what they actually requested, what's the process? Is that something that we'll be involved in? And if so, is that going to be like a subcommittee or the whole Student Senate actually being involved in making, determining the amounts to give clubs?
Well, yeah, and I know there's certain requirements that would likely be the reason clubs wouldn't receive as much as they request. Like for example, I think for food costs, it can't exceed $100. And currently they can't approve anything over that, because I believe it wouldn't be approved when it went to accounting services. So most of the time what a club requests would be approved unless it was over those, unless it exceeded what they're allowed to give. And I think all that might also be laid out in the club funding,
It is in the club guide.
The club guide, okay.
Yeah, there are a few reasons why it might not happen. One being if the money ran out.
Okay.
If it was just the end of the year and there wasn't any more club funding available. But I think it is a good question of appeals now that the Student Senate is going to be involved with this. Does Student Senate also be looking at appeals maybe on a bigger scale than just the Finance Committee? I think that's a really good point.
So it sounds like, basically things are getting reviewed and looked at, and, slightly changed, slightly not changed, but it's all being reviewed and seeing how it can be improved or more effective in getting the process, streamlined. So, and maybe we can get Candace here as a guest and to help clear up any questions or confusion. Yeah. So I think any other questions?
Just a point too, I noticed this might be a little bit of an older copy. The document's been revised just to basically clear up some of those like spelling errors, etc. So I just uploaded into the chat, which should be the latest version. But Teams told me like there was already a version available, and just to upload that. So I think it's the latest version that I shared. But yeah, hopefully that's the latest version.
All right. Thank you, Senator Chardelli. Again, any other questions before we move on? All right, seems like there is no other questions. So, all right, thank you, Senator Chardelli. Thank you, VP Shockey, for helping. And let's go on now to non-business housekeeping items and feedback on shared governance priorities, the continued conversation / discussion, ranking system, what have you. Last time we suspended Robert's rules. I think that would continue to be a good idea. I'm kind of going to hint out if there's a motion to suspend the rules for a period of time.
You could say, I will entertain.
I will entertain it. VP LaBella. I think you're on mute, VP LaBella.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend Robert's rules for the next 30 minutes.
All right, a motion's been made to suspend the Robert's rules for the next 30 minutes. Do we have a second? Senator Jones, is that a second? All right, all those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up, please. All right, and that is the majority. So you can put your hands down, and starting at 5:10, rules were suspended. So, Advisor Rome, would I have you continue? I don't know who leads the conversation now?
I certainly can. I just realized I forgot to paste in the two that I got since the last meeting. So let me do that quick. So if you all want to start or pick back up the discussion, I think we were talking about DCRC. In the Institutional Effectiveness Council, when we were talking about this yesterday, we determined it was too difficult to rank the 4, as you all kind of talked about last week. And the council's working on all 4 of them anyways with subcommittees, so maybe we don't need to focus so much energy on prioritizing those versus just providing feedback.
Anyone can talk.
That was actually going to be my first question. If there are things that if we can't come to an agreement, can we just provide feedback on them? So I think that's a good idea, especially for this last one.
Can I do something about my project?
No,
No.
that would be out of order at this particular point. We need to focus on that.
I'll wait.
Anybody else have anything to say about?
So would we just identify in the comments that like we think they're like of equal importance, all 4 of them, or do we not even need to like technically rank them when we send our feedback?
We're trying to, but.
Okay.
Are we going to get a chance to see the feedback from the student survey before we finish this process in the student senate?
No, I don't think that was the goal. The student feedback is going to go directly to each council. So they'll have student senate feedback as one piece of information, and then all of the surveys that employees and students are filling out will also go.
All right, fair enough. I think it'd be, just for the future, I think that'd be pretty useful for us to make decisions, based off of the actual survey results from the students. You know, if we could actually work with that feedback and see it, that'd be pretty impactful for us to have.
I think Senate could still see it if you were interested. But the councils directly will get it, so it's not like it won't be considered. But if we want to look at it again in a couple weeks when I have it all, we certainly can come back to it.
Yeah, I don't feel like it would be, I feel like, yeah, we can probably see it, but as far as Senate statement to, and give, you know, on this, that's, hopefully everyone got a chance to do the surveys. I mean, I really, and got to see the, all of the topics. If you didn't get to see, look at the document, last Thursday. But that's kind of where we left off, was hopefully everyone would kind of take a look at the document or look at the survey, kind of get a little bit of background, have it sit in your, you know, in your head a little bit, and then that way we could feel like we could easily talk about this a little bit better.
Yes, so if there aren't any other comments about diversity and community relations, you can certainly move on to Facilities Planning and Investment Council.
Advisor Jerome, I guess if I'm understanding you right, as far as giving feedback, my one thought was for the impact of the pandemic subcouncil was potentially, and I could be like not understanding you correctly, but if we were to include staff, employees, and students, so it's a bit more directed with students and more explicit, I suppose, that would be that was one of my main pieces of feedback, I suppose.
And Lisa, I don't know, maybe your hand's not up. I just saw, I see Lisa's hand up with my computer, not. It's, well, never mind, you know, my computer's being crazy again.
Any other comments you want to include for DCRC? Scroll slowly. There was quite the conversation about those last week, so.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Facilities Planning and Investment Council.
One, is everyone able to read this? I just want to make sure, does everyone see this? Is everyone able to read this? I'm just trying to understand what.
I emailed it out yesterday too.
No. Feel free to talk, Senator Willis.
Okay. As I'm looking at this, the one thing that I know that we're actually looking at are spaces within the buildings. But I was thinking that one of the other things that we might want to consider with this is, we just recently had another issue raised about the parking spaces for disabled parking. And we may also need to do an inquiry to get an update from facilities about how that's being managed as well on the different campuses, not just at Truax. Thank you. That's the perfect way to put it.
All right, so with those two items, how has the pandemic impacted the college facilities strategic plan? What opportunities have arisen for facilities planning that addresses changes or opportunities? Again, you guys have read this already, but I'm trying to help move this along because this is Senate's response to this. So this is important. These two items, the first one being the first one at the top would be highest priority. Does these two look okay as they sit right now, or should the bottom one go above the one that's currently on top?
I think the top one is, I think the order they're in is good.
I agree.
All right, I guess that was very easy. So,
Any other comments?
yeah, any other comments, feedback? All right. Finance Council only has one. What's everyone think about it? Feel about it?
And so this one's already been approved,
It
correct?
has.
So we can still give feedback, but the statement's already good as is.
Yeah,
To be
so
sent.
I think the council wants to gather interest anyways, that will be part of them working on this issue. So that, it'll be helpful. If there are any questions, concerns, if it doesn't make sense. The opposite of last week.
Yep.
Was this the one, when we talked last week, was this the one that was mentioned that like this was what they did last year as well?
No.
Oh, okay,
I think we're talking about the academic council. They've already been working on credit, no credit.
okay. Never mind then.
All right, I mean,
Yeah, I'll say, I think, so when we were discussing these yesterday in the Institutional Effectiveness Council, I think someone brought up, and I thought this was a good idea, exploring options that could be long-term versus just, like I know there was the federal relief for COVID, and I think that was maybe used in the past, but I think someone said maybe also looking into, you know, options that could stick around and aren't just temporary.
all right, anything? I know if you guys are feeling like this is hard, I understand, I understand it might be hard if that's what you're feeling, I don't know. But we gotta get through this together and, we're doing it together, that's the thing. We're gonna be doing this till we get it done, so, this is what the team is about, so,
So as a reminder, the questions that they're looking for are, is there anything missing? And what other interests do you have around these issues? What would you want these councils to keep in mind or know about from a student perspective related to the questions and issues that they're posing?
I guess like what are the ways that they're currently promoting financial literacy? I wondered that.
great.
And what are the options? I mean, I guess I don't know many options for resolving outstanding student accounts. So I don't know kind of what they're thinking or what kind of like, yeah, what options means necessarily. So if anybody here knows, I'd like to.
Well, for some context, I think it means like last semester, they basically just forgave everyone who had outstanding debt, it sounds like. And I don't know if they're considering that again, or maybe some kind of something in the same direction, but maybe not to the full degree, or, you know, it's speculation, but at least for context, last semester, they forgave the outstanding bills.
How do they get that fund? I mean, I know last year was a pandemic, but maybe this goes to the
From the
first one.
CARES Act. Yeah, it was the CARES Act, extra
Yeah.
COVID money.
So how do they plan to get that back? Because now that, I mean, that funding's pretty much dried up.
I don't
Or
know.
it will be pretty
Yeah,
soon.
I'm not sure how much, this is speculation. I'm not sure how much they have, but I think there's still some left. Like we got quite a bit of money. Like maybe it's all been spent, but if they're still considering possibly, you know, doing the same thing next semester, then who knows? But we could probably ask them.
Yeah,
But there is also, the emergency funding is still available because I just received a postcard in the mail yesterday telling me to apply for emergency funds if you need help with tuition or anything. So there is funding still available. What we need to ask them is, can we create, if necessary for some students, a payment plan or something of that nature? Because what it turns out to be is like there are work study students who are actually earning the money to pay their tuition over the course of the semester and may need an extra week or two thereafter to actually get the money in to finish paying off the previous semesters. And if they don't get it, if they don't manage that the right way, they're actually blocked from registering from the next semester's classes because they haven't paid for their classes. And that goes to like students who've reached the maximum time frame, and students who are not eligible for whatever other reason for financial aid under normal circumstances. The pandemic extra help has been something totally different, but I know I've had a lot of students actually talk to me about that when we were last on campus. So, and it still comes up when I'm tutoring students. So just a consideration.
Yeah, that's great, Sarah Rillis.
Is there any way now if students can't pay their finances or don't, like Senator Willis said, like are behind a couple weeks, so they're held back from applying to school or to other classes? Is there a way to kind of stop that? To kind of make it so even if a kid is a couple weeks late, they don't get the penalty of not being able to sign up for a class?
I think there probably is, but it's probably super like individualized, like depending on your circumstances and what resources you already have access to.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, they put a pause on those financial holds and still let people register, but I don't know if that's true now.
Tina's got her hand up.
I told you I was going to log off. I didn't know if I could participate in this or not, but I would just add a couple things if you let me, if you've suspended your rules. So you're absolutely correct. And let me see if I can see your name, Joe. Oh, I'm not going to get your last name correct. I'm sorry. But you guys are absolutely correct. During the pandemic, we did receive federal funding. And it was the last, there were the ARPA funds, the ones that were approved under President Biden, that allowed us to really turn a significant amount of those dollars towards students. We were given the freedom to assign those dollars out. That's where the debt forgiveness came in. So you're very correct in that that was limited in that scope. And we do have dollars. The forgiveness dollars were different than the emergency assistance dollars. And I think Katrina had made that point. So yes, for spring semester yet, there is going to be emergency funding available for students. If you're already under the FAFSA, you've done the free application for federal student aid, then that will come out to you automatically. Everybody else needs to apply just in the same way that you did this semester. I believe what the question is asking to, Katrina's absolutely on the right track, is, okay, there's a star around the pandemic. How do we move through this student financial pieces about resolving outstanding debt? How should the college consider that? And that is very important. Right now, we have a policy in place. Well, right now we have, we've suspended the policy, which is you can register regardless of the amount of debt that you have to us if it's accrued, if you've registered throughout the pandemic, right? Since spring of 2020 to where we are. In the past, and I'm not quite sure when this is going to be put back on, but you could have an outstanding balance of up to $100 and still be able to register, get your grades, do things like that. After a certain period of time, if you haven't paid your tuition, then it does go into collections. And is that the right thing to do? How should we do that? How do we try to recover those dollars? What's the obligation that we have to the taxpayers and then, of course, to the students? And so you guys are absolutely on the right track to think about, those larger issues, those wider issues what does a student payment plan look like? What could that potentially offer as an option for students? So this, from the way I'm reading this Finance Council question, it is to that broader, more long-term, we did what we're doing with the pandemic, that's an asterisk. How do we manage and move through these options moving forward? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what does, you really did explain that a lot better. But why does a pandemic, questions popped in my mind from the get-go when I enrolled back in fall of 2019, when I thought, why you had to pay the entire amount of the class by this date and you couldn't set up some payment plans. I mean, we got payment plans for tons of different things all over the place. Why can't we, do it for this? So like in my mind, it's like, I feel like if I'm thinking about that question 2 years ago, then probably that question's already been circling around as like a thing that's been being asked. Why does it take a pandemic to now bring up that question again, when really it's like, yeah, it's been, I feel like it's been kind of a deterrent already from the get-go. Yeah, so we did nice things, and I shouldn't say we, the college did nice things by, suspending certain protocols that they had in place, but yeah, the pandemic shouldn't really be the thing that we should even be talking about. It's like, you're asking questions, Joe or Romani, and I'm thinking, I would tell a student to go to enrollment services. I have no clue about any of these things, and I'm not going to be the first one to be even saying anything because I don't know what I'm talking about. They wouldn't know what I'm talking about. So it's like, and then at some point I also think, we are all adults. Trust me, I have been served with papers for having outstanding debt before, so I know what the process is, and it's not pretty when things go to collections. But you will know that I will never hold a credit card unless I know I'm going to pay that off, or I never will have. But that might seem a little bit rough at the same time. So I don't know. I think you saying that what you said, Tina, made me think about all that. So I mean, which is really awesome.
And I think that this is your opportunity, Sean. That's why, I just really appreciate you guys going through this. And I mean that your voice is the game changer, right? If these are the questions that have been going through your mind, yep, the pandemic probably laid them bare because we had so many of us affected, our families, our students, you guys know, our enrollments dropped, right? We had several thousand students less at the college than we had prior to the pandemic because you're being affected disproportionately by this. So we had to act, for lots of different reasons, if not just moral reasons. But what I'm seeing from the Finance Council is they're ready to engage in this conversation. Was the pandemic what's it called? It allowed them to open up those doors, right? Now that they're looking, everything's on the table. Take it. Put your questions there. Payment plans, absolutely. What about the collections process? All of that thing, I would say the way that they're phrasing this question, all that is on the table for discussion. So think long-term, think about your students, think about exactly those due dates, why, right? Many other colleges do have payment plans. Why not? Put it on the table.
The other thing that I'd like to add is, once students get into serious trouble with outstanding school debt, whether it's for parking tickets or something else, I mean, the process where they were turning over the debt to to the collection agencies, who then also set up for tax intercepts, I think we should definitely have a conversation about that as well, because in some student situations, it's not so much about financial literacy or lack thereof. Sometimes there are people who are underemployed or basically have been taken away from employment, and because they have this barrier, say it's a criminal record or something. or they're currently homeless, or something else that's actually sort of holding them back, that's negatively impacting them. But then on top of that, have a situation where we're just really hardcore on the collections process. So it's like, is there a way that we can actually try to mitigate the detrimental effect on students? Ooh, sorry, my granddaughter's throwing a tantrum. When they have problems with their collection, with actually being able to set up something and actually take care of it right away.
Mhm.
Super valid, yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Sean. I don't think that anybody, maybe there's a couple of people, I don't know, but I don't think anybody ever intends to register for classes and then not pay for them, right? Things happen, life happens, people understand that. And the question is, how are you, what are the systems in place to be able to deal with those aberrations, those unfortunate, unforeseen circumstances, when it impacts your ability to be able to do what you had hoped to follow through with. That's all. Okay.
I would also suggest that we look at, now that you mentioned it that way too, scholarships and other extended funding from other people, because I know for me personally, again, I can speak personally to having reached maximum time frame because I already have a bachelor's degree. So it's one of those situations for me. Yes, I love school and I keep coming. And I figured out alternative ways of paying for me taking classes. But one of the things that does come up is how frequently scholarship funding is available and students don't apply for it. No matter how many times the college itself sends out reminders to get students to do it, Phi Theta Kappa and other orgs at the school we do workshops on it to try to get students to get involved and get that money. Because my concern is, personally, I know I can't get all the funding by myself and I don't want to, but what I do want is for as many students as possible to apply for scholarships and grant money that's available through the college and outside the school, to make sure that those benefactors don't take that money away from the school because it's not being used. So that has always been my push the whole time I've been back at Madison College, is to try to get as many people as possible, submit the applications. The foundation will figure out who to give money to, but if they have a lot of people apply, then they can give a lot of money away. But if not a lot of people apply, then they go back to having that situation where they have all this money sitting there and not a way to get rid of it. So that's the other thing, to just make sure we figure out better ways to try to promote and raise awareness for students and empower them to go ahead and apply for them. It's like, don't worry necessarily about where your GPA is, because there may be something just because of a hobby you have that somebody will give you some money. It's like, yeah, try to get at least a 2.0 or 2.5 or whatever you need, but do what you got to do. And there's somebody that may have some free money to help you get through school. I just think as long as students are aware of that, I think we'll be good.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry for taking over.
Yeah, personally, I also would like to apply for some scholarships, and it was my intention to, and actually put it on my calendar. Like, the first time I tried to apply, I already missed the deadline because I basically enrolled in school in December. So all the deadlines were done for that next semester. And then I was like, oh, well, I can't miss it for the following semester, this semester, basically. So I had on my calendar, the enrollment opens in like April or March or something. And then I kind of found that the enrollment window was actually just like the last few weeks of the semester, when I was the most busy with studying for finals and finishing up kind of the end of the semester work. And I was like really, really just completely focused on class, and the deadlines blew by. And then I was, kind of finished up my finals. I finally had some breathing room. I said, all right, time to apply for those scholarships. And I went and looked, and then all the deadlines were passed again. So I missed it again.
I'm going to remind you. So you're not going to, there's going to come up December 1st. Typically is the end of November, December 1st. So what I would recommend, go ahead and start writing your essays. Do a draft of them now while you're not overly busy. So when the time comes for you to submit those applications, and apply for like the All USA scholarship through Phi Theta Kappa, because they give away money to people even if you're not a member. Get those. The hardest part is normally the essay, and then just filling out the application. Those applications, I believe, are already open. The ones for the foundation scholarships may not open for a few weeks or so, but just keep your eye on it. And as soon as they do open, I mean, that one is really easy. So normally it's like you need a letter, a recommendation. You may need essays depending on what you're applying for. But other than that, just get it done. Put it on your schedule and try to start it prior to the last week of the semester. And actually, like I said, the deadlines are normally before that.
How do you find?
And like I said, I'll remind you as well.
How do you find the scholarships and like the requirements for the scholarships? Because I know some scholarships.
I'll send you some links with some information, because first of all, like Phi Theta Kappa puts stuff together, and I know NSLS also does as well. And with the foundation scholarships, there is like a general application. You fill out that one application, and then you can apply for multiple scholarships at the same time.
How do students that like don't know you find them?
Well, the information is on the website. It's on our website. But the problem is, like I said, people just, like he just mentioned, that's very common for students to get overwhelmed and be too busy and blow the deadlines. But like I said, the trick is start early. Start your paperwork early. Do drafts of your potential essays, or request your letters of recommendations from whoever, and start compiling that information long before. Because you have both the internal scholarships and the external ones that you're going to apply for. And then, like I said, I'll make sure that I'll send more information about some of the outside scholarships, because like I said, I had been vice president of fellowship and scholarship for Phi Theta Kappa. So we had actually done a workshop where we had actually compiled a whole bunch of opportunities for students, and they're still valid. So I can put that, I'll pull that together and send that out to everybody as well. But like I said, you need to apply for these scholarships, because like I said, it doesn't help for me to know if people are not applying for it, because like I said, I already have a bachelor's, so that actually blocks me from a lot of scholarships, because I already have a bachelor's degree. If you don't have a bachelor's degree, then there's another pool of scholarship. And then if I choose to go back and look at my master's again, then there's funding for that. But there's tons of money for students who are transferring, for students who are staying, who are still going to be in associate degree programs. So like I said, what happens with me being around forever is the fact that I know a lot of stuff and I know a lot of people, and I can connect everybody with whatever they need to get where they're trying to go. So just keep that in mind.
So does this finance council, does this deal with scholarship outreach?
Not directly.
Because,
but like I said, but having that information out there, it actually put on their radar that what they need to do is not just be focusing on the outstanding debt itself, but potential resources that students can use to try to mitigate that up front. Because if you get scholarship money, then you don't have to worry about it.
We are at time. We need a motion to extend this.
I move to extend. I mean to add. I don't know how much time we need. How much further we got to get down the page?
Still 15.
4 councils left.
Jeez.
Okay, so let's do. I'd move to extend it 15 minutes.
All right, 15 minutes. Do we have so motion's been made by Sarah Willis. I'm gonna put my hand down. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Sarah Jones. All those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up. And there we go. All right, another 15 minutes added on, 5:42. We got this, guys. We're going. We're making some room.
So on the last point of this,
the minutes have been suspended, so continue talking, but keep in mind the time.
So I guess on the last point on this, I think that there should be something about I don't know if it's finance council, but there should be some outreach for information about scholarships more prevalent. I don't know. I don't even know if it's there, but I feel like if I didn't know where to find all these, a lot of students don't. So some kind of
Well,
like,
as a matter of fact, Student Life just sent out an email. Renee just sent out an email about a workshop that just came up about scholarships. So it comes up. I mean, you have various areas of the college that will do it. But
I noticed that email.
Students don't necessarily pay attention to it or understand what it means. So I think, yeah, they run it in the Clarion too.
I saw that email and actually was interested in attending, but it didn't fit in with my schedule. And I wish there would have been like a document associated, like if you couldn't make.
Just send an email to Renee or whoever sent the email, send them an email and just let them know you were not able to attend and you're still interested in receiving the information or being notified of the next time they have a session.
Sure. Yeah, I probably will do that. Thank you for the advice. But also just to finish the point, like I think it would be useful if there was also like just information sent out along with the invite for the meeting. Say, hey, if you want to go over the documentation, here's a meeting, we can talk through it. Or if you can't make it, here's also like what we're going to be reviewing. Here's the resources. I think that'd be useful. Just to kind of
they put the onus on the students though. If you reach out, they'll send it to you, because otherwise it's like you'll shoot for the moon and may not necessarily get anybody, because look at how many emails we get and how much miscellaneous stuff we get in the mailbox. So definitely, like I said, if you see something that you're interested in and you miss it or you don't think you can make it, just let them know right away. If you let them know ahead of time, they can send you the information before potentially. And I see Advisor Rome nodding her head. So it's just about communication and just making sure that we get it. But the problem is with students, sometimes we err on the side of not wanting to overwhelm students, but we do put a lot of information in front of students, but people don't necessarily filter through stuff in their email that's not directly class related. So that's where the challenge comes in. And we better move on before we use up the 15 minutes still. Like I said, I am always available if anybody wants to talk about this. And like I said, I got tons of resources. I will share it to everybody because like I said, I need everybody to get the money. That's just who I am.
All right, so IT is proposing these things. So improved IT security policy, that has actually already been thumbed. I think they're working on that.
Yep.
The accountant email retention policy. So how long should the college maintain and keep accounts active? Technology request policy, how can we create a transparent user-friendly interface for technology request policy? And then this is more of a side project more than an issue of a customer advisory forum, which I believe we heard about a little bit in your report last week.
Yeah.
So I would focus giving feedback on these middle two.
Currently, the accountant email retention policy is 7 years, which has been very helpful when, say, a student comes up to the Success Center and says, oh, I was a student, I stopped for a while to do this, and now I'm coming back. It's like, okay, well, how do we help you? How do we best help you pick up where you left off? And having that 7 years definitely helps. But there have been times when, yeah, that 7 years might seem a little short. So yeah, might be nice to extend that. Or, whatever anyone thinks, or any comments.
So does the technology request policy, does that have anything to do with like the technology access program? I guess, what are the differences?
Good question.
I don't know.
I will add that.
So who's responsible for sending out like email retention policies? I mean, I'm sure it's automated now, but who's responsible for like writing them and,
in terms of what? Writing
in terms of like actually writing the email to students that that the school potentially wants to get back or is asking how they're doing, who writes the email for the retention policy?
Most of that's automated though. Most of it's automated.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's just like the sending. Somebody still has to write the email.
So that's a separate thing. This is talking about like actually keeping an account active
Okay.
versus trying to get the student to come back and.
Yeah, I think that's more of a retention thing, yeah.
Okay.
That retention and different.
It's a very, still a good thing that needs, but yeah, it's a separate issue. But yeah, how long do we keep your data, your records, your test scores, all that stuff? And then, yeah, your Madison College student email account.
Yeah, when Katrina takes a break from classes, how long does she have for her account to still active?
Yes, and I was gonna say, I can speak to that because I was in classes from 2008 to 2010, and when I returned in 2016, my email accounts were still open and active, which actually was beneficial to me, and it reminded me that I had been considering returning to school and to go ahead and do something to make that happen, especially when I started seeing the emails about your enrollment. And so it helped me pull the
Right
trigger
there.
a lot faster than I probably would have.
That's really a helpful way to get someone to come back.
Well, see, and the thing too is if you go off and you finish your program or whatever, or get a degree, and then you start working, and then something happens, that industry goes out of business or whatever, and you need to you become a dislocated worker and you need to return to school to do something else, that's sort of when it sort of is beneficial, because then I still had a lot of contact information from the previous time I attended school, which actually helped me be able to reach out to people quicker. And again, like I said, like with the scholarships and stuff, it helped me get money faster because I still had contacts that it was easy enough for me to reconnect with.
Other feedback for IT? All right, we're halfway through our 15 minutes, so we might as well move.
Yep, 5:57 is when we hit our time, so.
Institutional effectiveness, how can we improve the education and participation of internal stakeholders in data gathering, use, and analysis to remove student barriers? And how can the Institutional Effectiveness Council support the effective use of data from Navigate? If you want more information, Shaki and I would be happy to share.
Yeah, don't say anything too bad about these statements because
I wrote
I did a lot of the drafting. So.
I suppose my question would be, I didn't know that there was data collected from Navigate. What is that?
No idea.
That's Navigate's whole thing. They collect data and help the college to better support students by using that data. So the goal is that by collecting all this data about what classes you're taking and that intake survey and demographic data and all of that, that they can better predict who's at a higher risk of dropping out, failing classes, not graduating, to intervene earlier. So basically the whole model is to produce these red flags for people to intervene from the college and make students more successful.
I thought they were developing that algorithm. Did they ever develop the algorithm? Are they using the algorithm?
They're still gathering data. They're hoping it's going to be available and kind of predicting things next semester.
So there you have it. I'm gonna find out a little bit more about that.
Hopefully that doesn't.
So we don't have any privacy concerns with them gathering data, do we?
Not more than anything other, thing.
It's just data from Navigate, right?
No.
Oh.
Well, I think most of the data is stuff you already share with the school, like when you enroll. Like a lot of it might come from like PeopleSoft and places that already have this information stored. I don't think there's like a ton of. I don't think they take any additional
security
information.
numbers already in PeopleSoft,
Yeah.
so I mean
That's not going to Navigate.
I know, I'm saying that if we're talking about the most sensitive thing you could give away, it's something like the Social Security is already being in something else, so it's not.
They don't care about student data on an individual level. They want enough data to be able to say, is a white female student who's 23 going to be more successful or at less risk than a 37-year-old black male. Like they want to be able to like generalize to groups of students and be able to kind of flag them, which there was some contention around that before Navigate came to Madison College. I think those
I
are
really know what
valid
the word
concerns.
contention means, to be honest.
Controversy, questions,
All right.
concerns.
Yeah, I definitely have my issues with it. I like Navigate
I
though.
think I brought that same concern up, Andrea, about like the privacy, like when I was actually in the council and we were coming up with these. And I think like no one that doesn't already have access to the data already is gonna be seeing this. Like an instructor wouldn't be able to see a comment you made to like an advisor or something like of that nature. Like it's not giving more access to like people that wouldn't likely already have it.
After institutional effectiveness, how many more do we have?
Professional development and student affairs.
All right.
That's it, but student affairs.
Yeah, that's gonna be,
Probably
that's
shouldn't have been the
gonna,
last
that's gonna be a
one we talked
battlefield right there.
Any other questions, comments, concerns about institutional effectiveness issues?
I personally feel it's just a little over my head. So my question was about all I have on the matter.
Fair enough. It's a little more abstract than student.
It's hard to, yeah, it's kind of hard to even think of a question when it sounds so, like you said, abstract.
I guess my only other thing would be, how can like in one instance, student leaders be able to use that data to be able to effectively get student engagement, you know, and get more students on board with things like student life organizations or clubs, or just passing information along like financial literacy, you know, things like that, you know. So I think that would be
Great
helpful,
question.
you know.
Yeah. And totally ties in with both of them. Cool. All right. Professional development.
Should I just say, we just get a motion right now, probably just
2 minutes.
2 minutes, you know? VP LaBella,
I move to extend the suspension of Robert's rules.
how long?
Oh geez, how about another 15?
All right, motion's been made to extend Robert's rules for another 15 minutes. Do we have a second? It looks like Sarah Willis is seconding that. All right, so all those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now and keep your hands up. And that looks like, yep, there we go. So yeah, we're just gonna extend it from 5:57 for another 15 minutes. Yeah, and there we go. I continue, you guys wrong. And you have to go for your class, so why don't you do that?
So professional development, policy that allows all staff, including part-time, to have some paid professional development hours. Develop policy around use and creation of digital badges as they relate to employees, and develop a plan to use this council to communicate professional development opportunities. I know a question that has come up in the past: are student employees included in all of these categories?
No,
That was my question.
they're not. Because I actually raised that question when I was on the council as well. And because I was like, you're using the adjective all there, and it's not all inclusive, because you're saying all staff and it excludes student employees or limited term employees too. LTEs are not included in this either. So, but beyond that, I would say we may want to consider opportunities, sharing what professional development opportunities are available for student employees, just so student employees know where to look, versus like the Blackboard trainings that we get sent to us, but just being aware of where they are so that students will know where to look too.
Super good, Sarah Willis. You're on fire tonight, you know?
You know, I've been fighting that fight with about professional development for a while.
Woo!
I fought my way on the council and off the council and still had the same, I just feel, like I said, to me, knowledge is power and free money is power. So it's like, to me, those are things that I always champion, trying to empower everybody to get access to.
All right, any other comments on this one? I really feel like we should probably spend the most time on student activities, or not the most time, but significant.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so, how can open access materials be used at Madison College to support the student learning experience? How can Madison College better understand and support student parents' needs? Mental health.
That's a big one.
I know, these are all a big one. Mental health. I won't read the whole thing, and unmet student needs. I'll read the whole thing.
And one thing I wanted to just point out real quick, because this is the council that I'm on. So that first one, open access, that includes rental textbooks and other supplies that the college provides. One thing that actually started this big long email chain that I think I'm now 20 emails deep in with a bunch of different staff members is if calculators could be allowed in that. Because for me, accounting calculators, they're expensive. And a lot of the students in my class are like, this sucks, because we didn't even know. We had no idea going in that we had to go buy $100 calculators. So that was one thing that got brought up. So for me and just other students that I've connected with, that's a really big, these are all big ones, as we just said, but that one's like a really big one, because surprise costs can just be killer for people on fixed incomes.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, if anybody's curious, if you go to Truex, you can rent a calculator for a couple hours, but you cannot leave the building with it. And you literally, I think, have 3 hours with it.
Is that out of the library?
I think so, yeah. I'd have to double check. Like I said, that email chain is real deep now, but.
You know, a big thing that falls under the mental health thing, bullet point, is the situation where students lose access to insurance for whatever reason and are clinically diagnosed with some kind of mental health disorder and need their medication. Because I've actually supported students when I worked physically in the accounting and business open lab. I literally had a student that was in crisis, and I escorted her down to counseling in order to make sure that she got connected with somebody that could be a resource and get her the help that she needed. But I think that's still an issue as far as making sure people have access to not only mental health professionals, but potentially if they need medication, having access to a psychiatrist, not just a regular doctor over at Group Health, because sometimes you might need somebody to be able to tweak the medication that they're actually taking because something may have exacerbated their condition. So I think that that's just something else to consider.
This was the reason why I joined the Senate. I don't know if I made it very clear, was this reason, losing insurance, because I lost my insurance. And my lyrica cost $495 a month. Yeah, that was a lot, big expense that I could not afford. And I really don't know. I mean, I know that when I started as president, that mental health policy, whatever, was becoming in effect in the college assembly. I don't really know whatever happened with that. But from what I have always felt, and I think that it's probably this is just how I feel, my opinion, how I see things, that there's nothing the college can do. I mean, like, it's like almost out of the college's hands. It's how I see it. Like, because this college has done everything for us to be very helpful and as an aid. So if they could have done something, wouldn't they have already done something? Because, yeah, this is a big issue. I mean, like, I don't know. What else really to say other than, you know, if a person doesn't have their meds, you know, the grades start going bad, everything starts going downhill. And, you know, talking to somebody who only does so much, you know, the services provided for with the group health, you know, being a student, those are good basic, you know, insurance type needs. Though I was told it wasn't really technically insurance, but you know, it almost feels like there's such limited options, and you know, it doesn't seem like it's something that the college can do. It seems like it's something that higher up in our society can do, and I don't really think that that's a topic. So I mean, you know, that's how I see it. But I know exactly what you're talking about, Senator Willis.
But I'm gonna make one other quick point because technically I'm supposed to be in class right now. As far as the supporting student parents and what their needs are, I remember from when I attended graduate school over at UW-Madison, they actually had, well, there they called it a single parent support group, which was a network of single parents who had children and were in graduate school. But I think one of the things we may have to consider is maybe surveying student parents and finding out what they feel, what their needs are, and then find out, and then from there try to put some supports in place, whether it's connecting them with community supports or resources, or even trying to connect the students with each other who self-identify as student parents, and how they could actually, and if they live in the same area, support each other and give each other respite care or whatever they need.
I just want to let you know, this exact thing did come up during the meeting. And I think the only reason it's not on this list is because that list got ridiculous towards the end of the meeting. And I think they just kind of trimmed some things. But that exact topic, I think we talked about for like a good 20 to 25 minutes. So it is something they were aware of when putting in support student parents' needs, was this exact thing.
Okay.
So where does everyone sit right now with how they look currently on the screen, and where would you move them if they were not okay with how they are currently now? I think we can get through this before 6:12. That's why I say this.
Another thing that got brought up too was, does supporting student parents' needs fit into unmet student needs too? Or is that like a separate issue entirely? Just something to consider with ranking.
I think it should be kept separate.
I think so too. It was just something that got brought up, so I thought I'd throw it out there.
Yep, just because that opens up a whole different dynamic. I mean, because yes, you know, all students can be food insecure, housing insecure, etc. But some of the needs, like just for basic a few hours of respite to get away from their kids and to recharge, you know, or to study for a test or something, that's something totally different for a student parent than it is for someone who doesn't have children.
Right.
So would we move up the parent needs from where it's currently at, or again, what does everyone think about where they currently are or where they could be?
I actually would like mental health to be like moved up a few, because I feel like that's always been like an aspect that students often ignore. And then the school does provide some like helpful emails where they will send like how it matters, and then a few tips and techniques to teach students to manage their stress levels. Which ultimately affects their learning as well. But there's only so much simple email can help. And I think someone mentioned how, I think it was actually Willis that mentioned that schools should have like a psychiatrist, like maybe promote that service to the students as well.
There's a counseling services, which they do quite a bit. But yes. So right now you said mental health you thought should go up. Currently it's at 3. Where would you think it should rank?
Honestly, number one.
Okay, so I'm pushing this along, everybody, and trying to be, let's make it to the finish line. We also gotta go back to the IT and rank those quick. So where are we, again, open access currently is at 1 as the top priority. Better understand parents' needs is at 2. Mental health is currently at 3. And then unmet student needs is currently at 4. If we're comfortable with that, then let's lock it in. If not, let's see where we can put it.
I think that we should go by which ones affect the most students again, because these are hard to rank.
Yes, they are very much hard to rank. So what would you do, thinking about all the student needs, where would you rank them at then? The best ability, there's no wrong answer here. This is the best of your ability.
Probably mental health, unmet. How can, or maybe parents then, how can open access materials? But that is like seriously open to suggestion. So if anybody else has
I think when I think about what the college would be best at providing, I honestly think it's open access materials personally.
I agree.
Not that they're not good at providing those other things. I absolutely think all this stuff should be looked at. Just that what is the college going to be best at doing is kind of what I'm thinking.
Rank it after open access materials though.
I didn't hear you.
After open access materials being the first and the highest priority in your book, what would you rank the second, the third?
Second, I would put mental health, support student parents, and then unmet needs.
All right.
I actually would still like to put mental health as first, and then on the access materials second, unmet needs third, and then actually the parents' needs as last.
Okay. I'm writing these down right now so I can see what the most common is, so we can get this going. So I've got Amani's, I've got Bella's, I've got Ella's. Come on, keep throwing them at me right now. I'm writing them down.
VP Labella, if I could just get a clarification on open access materials. You said that included textbooks, correct?
So that's one thing that's considered an open access material. This is a really wide range though.
Right.
And the idea is that Madison College is a little bit limited in open access materials. So the idea would be expanding that. What more can students get for their classes, class materials that they don't have to pay for themselves?
Right. And so the idea is being that almost every single student at Madison College uses this open access, so a source essentially for textbooks, whatever they need for class materials essentially. Is that kind of?
I think that the goal would be for everybody to be able to use it, and also expanding people that qualify for certain things as well.
Right. Okay, so then I guess for my opinion on ranking, I would do open access materials first as well. Mental health second. And then I think unmet student needs and then student parents, which is not to say that student parents' needs are like least important. I just think it's a more restricted, I don't even know if that's the right word, but if we're looking based on like how many students we can support in each of these different focuses, that seems to be most appropriate in my mind.
Thank you, Caitlin. Who's next?
Okay, well, I'll go. I support what Senator Labella was in her ranking.
Open access materials first?
Yes, open access. Then I think she said mental health, parent needs, and unmet student needs. I feel like unmet student needs could also be something that they could find in the community itself. You know, food security, housing security, those kinds of issues could be served by their community. Whereas a student parent is something that kept me from coming back to school for a long time, was having young children and not sure how I would juggle all that with with having kids and going to school at the same time. So I think there's a lot of people like that, student parents that need support and resources that they couldn't get in their community. So yeah, that would be my ranking.
Thank you, Lisa. And then I will provide mine. I will just go along to give 4 out of the other 2 so far with open access materials. And then I will throw mental health down at second. I will also go with unmet needs and then parents as the last one. John, what would you rank yours as?
I would say financial aid is that one on the list itself?
The top, the ones to rank them from open access materials, mental health, unmet student needs, and then supporting student parents.
I would say ranking between the top, I would say mental health would be like near the top.
Okay, what would you put second? And there's no wrong answer, just that's your ability.
Right. Parents have kids while they're in school, so I would say having parents getting the support they need while they're going to school.
All right. Next, 2 more.
All right.
You have unmet student needs and then open access materials. The last 2 that you choose from.
Open access materials.
As your third choice, okay?
Yeah. And then
that leaves the unmet student needs. All right. And anybody else that I did not get? I think I got everyone right.
Yeah, just for the record, I do want to change mine, and I want to go with LaBella and yours.
Okay.
So open access, mental health, unmet parents.
You can pretty confidently say open access first, mental health second. That
Yep.
feels like the consensus.
Yep. And then
But then I'm just not sure about the other 2.
parent would be last one. Okay, so take out Amani's. So then the third place so far, Caitlin had unmet student needs. Amani had unmet student needs. Correct, Amani? Unmet student needs, okay. Andrea, I had parents. Correct? Parents?
Yes.
All right. Ella, I had unmet student needs.
Yes.
Lisa, I had parents. John, open access materials, and Sean, unmet student needs. It sounds like unmet student needs is the one that took that.
Yeah.
Which would then leave Caitlin had parents, Monty had parents, Andrew had unmet student needs, Ella had parents, Lisa had unmet student needs, John had unmet student needs, Sean had parents. 1, 2, 3, 4 for parents. 1, 2, 3 for unmet student needs. Parents takes the last place on that. So that seems to be, any guys' last comments quickly, before we go back to IT and rank those quick?
And professional.
Just that I think
President
parents was definitely talked about a lot, so I think it's on the radar no matter what for student
Yeah.
affairs.
Definitely. All right, cool. I think this is working actually. So we're gonna continue doing this. All right, so
Can we do the easiest one here?
yes,
Where there's just 2.
yes.
Who wants a raise of hands? Who thinks, how can we improve the education and participation to be number 1?
Hands either, just put your hands up through the teams, please. If you think that should be the first priority one, the top.
Okay, everyone else thinks that the navigate data should be number 1? Was that 2 and everyone else?
I think navigate data should be number 1 personally.
All right. Can't be because it's not available, but that's fine. So work on it next. All right.
Roger that.
So IT, I guess really just focusing between the email retention policy and technology request, because these are the 2 next issues.
Yeah.
So who thinks the accountant email retention policy should be priority one?
I think it should. Personally, Sean, President Creed says that.
Yep. Versus the technology request policy. So that's the two we're comparing, just for clarity.
Yeah, so it seems like Andrea, Ella have technology, the technology request. Lisa's got the technology request. Caitlin, did you have the technology request or did you have the email retention policy? And same with you, Imani.
I thought we were still on email retention policy,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was.
I think they were raising their hands for the email.
Okay, okay.
I wasn't.
I'm retention. Imani's retention.
Right now, raise your hand.
So so I'm retention, Imani's retention. Who else is retention?
4.
Ella, you retention?
Yeah.
That's another retention. Who else is retention? Say it out.
5, we got Caitlin, all right.
Caitlin, retention,
Okay.
okay. Team retention. Writing that down, I don't know why, but it kind of
Okay.
sounds cool.
So then professional development. We have 3 in here, so everyone to have paid professional development, digital badges, and promoting professional development opportunities.
Okay, Imani votes number 1 for develop plan, number 2 for develop policy that allows all staff, and then number 3, develop policy around the use of digital badges.
So badges at 3, 2, I thought you said policy twice.
Yep, so.
So what was
It comes up twice. So number 1 is going to be develop a plan to use council to communicate professional development opportunities. Number 2, develop a policy that allows all staff, including part-time. And then number 3, badge.
Yeah, so opportunity, then you had that other one. I'm gonna say.
Professional development.
Yep, yeah, paid professional, and then last one being the
Digital badge.
yeah, the badge. What's everyone else saying?
For me, the first one where it is, and then swap the bottom 2.
Okay.
Professional development 1. Professional development opportunities 2, badges 3.
All right, so that's Andrea.
And I was just gonna say, I agree with VP Labella on her orders rankings.
All right, character development, opportunities, and badges. Okay. Next.
I'm also paid professional development, opportunities, and then badges.
All right, next.
Anyone who's left strongly disagree with that?
Yeah, sounds like that's kind of the one that's looking like it's winning. Not winning isn't a bad thing. There's no winning or losing. Yeah. Paid thing, the paid one, opportunity second, and badges 3. That sounds like everyone's really on board with that. So.
Okay, let's just double check. We've got ranked across the board. We did it.
Good job, you guys.
We did it.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah, good job. So we lost Karam a while ago. So Robert's rules no longer applies. The meeting time no longer applies. We're just hanging out right now, and we didn't want to tell you that because we wanted to get this done. Yeah, I guess
But that was the last thing.
that was the last thing. So I'm really proud of you guys. You did such a great job, and yeah, it's awesome. So I guess
Adjourn the meeting?
that's it. So
You can still adjourn the meeting.
Oh, okay. So great, awesome. My battery's about to die on my laptop anyway. Yeah, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yeah.
The motion made by Senator Zania. Do we have a second? Looks like seconded by Senator Jones. All right, all those in favor, please use the hand raising feature now. And keep them up. Keep them up. And we are adjourned at 6:22 p.m. Have a great weekend, everyone. Have a great Friday, great Thursday night. Love you all. Later.